Midnight had already drowned the village in a suffocating stillness. A thick, heavy fog crawled across the narrow dirt road like something alive, wrapping itself around. The old wooden houses swallowing the fences, muting every sound except Mira's lonely footsteps. The single lamppost on the street flickered with a dying yellow glow, struggling to stay alive. Moths circled it slowly, their wings brushing against the light like whispers of something unseen. Mira pulled her shawl tighter. Every few steps, she felt as if someone was walking behind her, keeping the same distance, the same rhythm. She stopped. The sound stopped. She turned around. Nothing, just endless fog and silhouettes of abandoned homes. But the strange part was the air itself. It didn't feel empty. It felt watched. The wind wasn't blowing, but somewhere far off, a metal sheet tapped repeatedly. Ting! 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 Slow, rhythmic, unnerving. Mira swallowed hard and hurried toward her house, her footsteps echoing in the dead night. She entered her house and shut the door quickly. The wood was old, heavy, and always made a deep thud when it closed. Tonight even that felt too loud. She locked it, double-checked it, then leaned against it, exhaling a shaky breath. For a moment nothing, just silence. Then, thud, thud, thud. Not a knock, more like a fist slamming into the door with enough force to shake dust from the frame. Mira froze. Her heartbeat stuttered painfully against her ribs. She tiptoed toward the peephole, breath held, looked, and saw. No one, not a single shape, not even a shadow on the foggy porch. But the door still vibrated lightly, as if something massive had been standing there just seconds ago. A cold breath of fog slipped under the door, curling around her feet like a living thing. Her phone vibrated, loud in the silence. Unknown number. She hesitated, staring at the screen, then slowly answered. Hello? No voice. Just deep, slow breathing. Wet. Close. Uncomfortably human. She swallowed. Who is this? The breathing grew faster and closer. Then a cracked, broken whisper crawled through the speaker. I found you. The call ended. Her hands trembled as she lowered the phone. A distant creaking sound echoed somewhere inside the house, as if a floorboard had been stepped on. And she knew. She wasn't alone anymore. Jenny, agar ye perfect style lag raha hai, batao. The house had gone impossibly quiet. Too quiet. Even the ticking clock on the wall sounded distant, like it was ticking underwater. Mira moved toward the living room window, trying to convince herself everything was in her head. When suddenly, Skrrr! A long, slow scratching sound scraped across the glass. Not the sound of nails, but something heavier, sharper, like bone dragging across a mirror. She stopped breathing. The scratching continued, slow, deliberate, like whoever or whatever was outside wanted her to hear it. Her hands trembling, she reached for the curtain, pulled it aside. No one, just darkness. But the glass had fresh marks, long, jagged, and deep enough to leave grooves. As she stared, her reflection in the glass shimmered unnaturally, as if something behind her was moving. Mira turned sharply. Nothing, but the darkness behind her felt thicker now, like it had weight. She stepped into the narrow hallway. Only one dim bulb lit the passage, flickering every few seconds. At the far end, something moved. Not fast, not slow, just there. A tall shadow stretched unnaturally long across the wall, bending at sharp angles, like its joints weren't meant for a human body. Mira froze. Her eyes widened as the shadow leaned its head around the corner, peeking at her. A smile, wide, crooked, too big, formed within the darkness of the shadow, as if the wall itself was grinning. Then, the light flickered once, twice. On the third flicker, the shadow disappeared. Only the cold, suffocating hallway remained. But Mira could feel it still standing there, watching her. She reached the kitchen. Everything was still, not a sound, not a movement. Then, Crack! The kitchen door beside her slowly swung open, inch by inch, as if pushed by an invisible hand. No wind, no pressure, nothing, just the chilling sound of wood bending. Inside, the lone wooden chair at the table began to move. It scraped across the floor, slow, steady, like someone was pulling it out to sit down. Mira's throat tightened. Her legs felt numb. The chair stopped. For 3 seconds, nothing. Then it jerked sharply. Thunk, as if someone sat on it with force. But the chair was empty. The cold air of the room suddenly dropped to freezing, her breath turning into fog. Desperate for comfort, Mira grabbed an old box of family photos from the cupboard. She flipped through them quickly, trying to distract herself. Then she found it. A worn black and white picture of her mother as a child, standing in the same village. But behind her mother, behind her, stood a figure. A tall, thin, faceless figure, its head tilted too far to one side, its arms long enough to reach the ground. The same shape Mira saw in the hallway. Her hands grew cold holding the photo. She flipped it over. A faint pencil note on the back said, "He came for her first." Mira dropped the photo instantly. She backed away slowly. Her breath turned shallow. Every instinct inside her screamed run, but her body refused. Then she felt it. A warm breath inches from her ear. A whisper, low and taunting. "Turn around!" Her entire spine froze. She turned slowly, inch by inch. Behind her was only the empty living room. But the rug under her feet suddenly moved, as if something had just stepped away. Mira rushed to the bathroom and splashed water on her face, trying to breathe. The mirror fogged up instantly, way too fast, like someone had exhaled directly onto it. She stepped back. Then faint shapes began forming within the fog. A head, a face, a twisted grin stretching wider and wider, hollow eyes, a long jaw, sharp cracks forming across the face like broken glass. The reflection raised a hand, long, bony fingers, and tapped the mirror from the inside. Tap! 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 Mira screamed and stumbled back, but her reflection stayed, grinning, watching. Boom! 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 The door shook violently, worse than before. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Something outside was hitting the door hard enough to break the hinges. Mira backed away, heart crashing inside her chest. Boom! The frame cracked. Boom! The lock bent. Then suddenly, silence, dead silence, and a slow dragging sound moved across her porch, like something heavy was walking away, or circling. Mira peeked out the window. The fog outside had thickened, swallowing the road and trees. Then she saw it, a tall figure standing in her yard, half hidden in fog, still, not moving, facing her window directly. Its outline was distorted, shoulders too high, limbs too long, head crooked at a disturbing angle. When the wind shifted the fog for a moment, she saw its face, the same cracked grin from the mirror. It raised an arm, slowly, and pointed at her. The lights in the house flickered once. When they came back, the figure was gone. A loud thump echoed from above, the attic, then another. Thump, 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 steady, heavy, like someone walking back and forth. Mira covered her mouth, tears forming. The footsteps stopped directly above her head. Then, scrape. Something dragged across the attic floor, right over her. She moved back toward the living room when she heard the creak. The stairwell. Someone was coming down, slowly, one step at a time. Creak, creak, creak. She could see only the lower half of the staircase from where she stood. A long pale hand gripped the railing, then a second hand, too thin, too long. Then a face leaned forward, not human, cracked like dried clay, mouth stretched unnaturally, eyes black and hollow. It grinned at her. Mira ran to the back of the house. But the moment she reached the kitchen, knock! She froze. The knock came from inside the house, right behind her. She turned slowly. The thing stood inches away, its grin splitting wider, its head twitching side to side. It whispered, "Let me in." Though it was already... Mira stumbled backward. The creature followed her, moving in sharp, unnatural jerks, like a puppet pulled by broken strings. It reached out a hand, fingers stretching, bones cracking. The lights flickered violently. For a single second, the room flashed white, and everything went silent. The door swung open. Fog moved inside like a wave. Mira's voice echoed once. The scream cut short. When the lights returned, the house was empty. The doorframe broken. Fresh scratches on the walls, and a single whisper hung in the air, fading slowly. "I found you."